All right, what's going on, guys? Roadkill here. So, season 9 has come and gone. It's been a month. I wanted to do a rocket tutorial, considering it has been a pretty long time since I've done the last one, number one. And number two, a lot has changed with all the team ups and stuff like that. But I wanted to get a bit more experience with the team ups. And so I decided to just play for about like a month before really giving my 2 cents on this. So in the past, my other tutorials have been like pretty long, like an hour, like 40 minutes, stuff like that. So I'm gonna try my best to summarize this tutorial and hopefully like a 5-10 minute tutorial. Not much has changed in the last like year and a half or however long it's been. My opinions on the character are pretty similar, aside from the maybe something like the mobility stuff. That's definitely changed, but you know, let's just get right into it. So Rocket has always had some of the highest damage per second in the game, rivaling characters like Iron Man, Iron Fist, Punisher, Wolverine, characters like that. As far as just like damage goes, he's probably the best brawl support in the game. Hulk, Thing, Venom, all these tanks are pretty much like victims to Rocket as far as just like 1v1s go. You really shouldn't be afraid of these guys, like, and a lot of DPS too. Matter of fact, I'll go through most of Rocket's favorable matchups as far as the fight goes, with just his minigun. So as far as favorable matchups go, Hulk, Strange, Captain America, Thor, Groot, Magneto, Penny, Thing, Devil Dinosaur, Venom, and maybe Rogue. It just kind of depends. I don't know too much about the Hood just yet. Matter of fact, you know, since we're already on this path, I'll just go through all his matchups really quickly that I think are favorable. Black Panther, Wolverine, Blade, Storm, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Squirrel Girl, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Iron Fist, and maybe Human Torch. And you know, we'll go through his favorable support matchups. Invisible Woman, Gambit, Jubilee, Luna, Adam Warlock, and Ultron. Most of the cast are just pretty easy to deal with. One clip dealing just constant damage, 700, it's like 780 or something like that. It's a lot. And if you just have any type of accuracy, they even sped up his bullets. It's pretty hard to miss these days. Like, you kind of just have to try to not kill people with this thing. Like, it is really good, and you kill a lot of people, especially tanks, just because it's even harder to miss them with such a huge hitbox. But that's his damage aside. Again, was one of the more higher damage output supports in the entire game. Maybe Jubilee's up there too. As for the res beacon, it's pretty simple, and I don't think it really requires too much explanation. You put it down and it revives someone. At the start of the game, make sure you put it down in front of the spawn door so everyone gets a little bit extra health. You never know when that's going to come in handy or save someone's life, even if you don't notice. As far as some extra stuff for the res beacon goes, when the res beacon is up, you can take more risks as far as DPSing on Rocket goes, because if someone dies in the time that you're DPSing, it doesn't really matter because they just come back. People will get frustrated when you do that, but it's just like they'll get revived a second later, and so who cares? In more riskier fights, I wouldn't say, you know, like where the fate of the game is on the line or whatever, I wouldn't say like go out of your way to DPS and maybe risk your teammate's life. In those situations, the res beacon is just more of an insurance policy. If the enemy team is playing more dive-oriented characters, Captain America, Spider-Man, Psylocke especially, you are gonna want to be a lot more aware of your res beacon than normal. These guys, even when they're not looking for your res beacon, they just run around the entire map. Eventually one of them's gonna see. You have to be like watching if they go in the direction of your res beacon at all times, because you don't want that thing to go down. 40-second cooldown is really long. As far as healing goes, Rocket's probably got some of the better healing in the game, maybe even the best. He's able to just heal from anywhere across the entire map, a lot of times without even having a line of sight on his teammates, as well as being able to heal large groups of teammates if they're relatively close together. They don't even really have to be all that close, as long as they're not like all over the place, like in a diver comp. Like your tanks are on the front line, your Spider-Man's here, your Silex over there, your support's behind you. That's when you have a bit of trouble. But Rocket really does very well in front to back or brawl type comps or whatever. So much it's the point where there've been plenty of games where I solo supported on Rocket and did just fine, and only really had trouble once the entire enemy team, like 3 or 4 people, started making it their job to kill me. Rocket's ultimate is pretty weird now. It gives overshield and 40% damage boost, or at least that's what it did for a while, but then they nerfed it in a very weird way that kind of can make it inconsistent. So the way it works is once you're as close to the ultimate as possible, it gives the full boost, 40% extra damage, and then the overshield as well. But the farther you get away from the ultimate, the less effective it is. Like it'll give you less overshield and you get less extra damage. So what that can cause sometimes is any ultimate or ability that needs an exact 40% damage boost to kill through a support ult or whatever, if they're standing like a foot outside of the radius, then sometimes a combo that would like Venom, a combo like Venom ult under normal circumstances was supposed to kill through support ult, just kind of doesn't, because he was like a foot away farther than he was supposed to be. So that can get kind of awkward. The other thing about Rocket is he is the cure to triple support as far as just like the ultimates go, because the main problem with most triple support comps, most of the time you just don't have any way of killing through these ultimates, or maybe just one person on your team has a way of doing it, but the rest of your team, maybe you have like let's just use the Hood for example. His ultimate isn't the type that can one-shot through support ults, but with a 40% damage boost, I haven't seen it very much, but I'm pretty sure he can. Same thing with something like Iron Fist ult or whatever. Characters who normally would not be able to kill through support ults, he enables a lot of the roster to do so just with his amplifier. So he is like the answer to triple support. So you can always plan around it. Oh, they have triple support, so we'll Rocket Punisher, we'll Rocket Wolverine, we'll Rocket this or that, and it enables it frees up your team to play a whole lot more characters against those types of team comps. Only problem is against these support ults, everyone's gotten used to just destroying Rocket's ultimate immediately. So you do kind of have to put it in kind of like creative positions, usually like above the enemy. So they have to choose between shooting at your teammates or shooting at the amplifier. And against someone like Jean Grey, usually I like to place it like aggressively, like into the enemy team. But when Jean's on the enemy team, you have to place it like in front of your team or kind of just like far away, just like in your own backline, essentially. Usually Phoenix players will use their ult, and then it has a much longer travel time to your ultimate, which gives your team more time to destroy the Phoenix ult, which typically is the difference between like winning and losing. As far as Rocket's mobility goes, they have really gutted it. Like it has been horrible. So 3 things. His wall run speed is I think it's like 20% slower, something like that. It was such a like ridiculously like noticeable change that like I felt like I was going through like sludge when I ran on the wall. You get used to it after a couple of seasons, but man, it sucks. And so then the other 2 things are obviously his dash. So what they did was, I can't remember, I think it was like season 3 or something like that. What they did was he can dash less often, so the cooldown is higher. It's like 10 seconds where I think it used to be like 6 seconds, and you dash way less far. So I think it was like 20 meters before, and now it's like 10, something like that. So his dash has just been gutted both ways. Rocket's main mode of mobility usually is just doing the whole wall run tech, where you just wall run and dash at the same time, which gives you his former near max distance. Outside of that, you really do want to just save your dash for when you're getting like dove by like divers or whatever. Typically you want to go on a wall and like dash into the air and then just shoot them from where they can't really reach you. People like Captain America and Daredevil and stuff like that. They've changed Rocket he was like semi-dive in the past with how mobile he was, but now they've really changed him from like a when enemies like attack him like a outmaneuver them and stuff like that to like a stand and just kill them type of thing with his minigun. They've upgraded the damage on his minigun and the fire rate of his shot. He's been like soft reworked into just doing more damage and having less mobility, which allows for, I guess, more or less frustrating matchups into him where he can't just run away forever. But at the same time, if a Rocket player decides to fight back, it's like he really can shred you. Let's go over Rocket's team ups. I have never once in my life used the Royal team up, and I don't plan to. It just doesn't appeal to me. So if you want to have some type of tutorial for that, I'm just not the guy. I think Flarking Fool uses it quite a bit. So you could just look at some of his videos. I don't know if he's made a tutorial, but you can look at some of his videos and see how he uses it, and you'll get some pretty good ideas there. But as far as his team up goes with Groot, this is kind of something I've wanted for a long time. Rocket to have some type of like AoE damage ability, and they kind of gave. I wanted like a literal rocket or something like that, but they kind of gave you like a really good middle ground and probably something even better than what I was asking for. So what this thing does is he shoots out just like a barrage of like explosive balls essentially, and so it heals his teammates and it damages enemies. It does 20 healing per round and 18 damage per round. It's not too low, but what makes it low damage is how slow it shoots. That's the problem. And I think it's like over time as well. But the good thing about it is it can heal and damage at the same time. And sometimes you're in situations where one or the other isn't too good and you want to be able to do both, and this team up just solves that problem. So where I like to use this thing most is in like big brawls. Like for example, when Strange portals his team onto point, like on the last fight, what I'll do is I'll use the team up and just spam at the portal door that anyone who comes out or anyone standing in the doorway actually is taking damage for the entire time. It does pretty low damage, but when you spread that damage across an entire team, it's 18 damage per person hit. So one spore hits 6 people. That's 18 times 6. What is that? That's 108 damage for one spore. So yeah, it's really good for brawl areas where everyone's just kind of like fighting all over the place. It also gives bonus health. I think if your teammates are at maximum health, something like that. And so I don't think it gives too much. I think it's like 15 or 20. Not too like crazy or whatever, but it can be like a breakpoint changer, I guess. Another area where I like to use it, brawl areas or when enemies are coming out of the portal. The other area I like to use it is when against like most divers, not when they're coming at you. When divers is coming at you, his minigun is typically a whole lot better. But when divers are just like in the middle of your team going after your support, using the team up to heal your support and damage and maybe even kill if they don't run away, and maybe even kill the diver at the same time is very useful, because there are some times where I have to choose between healing them or killing the enemy, and typically killing the enemy can result in your support dying if they just don't stay alive long enough. So yeah, if divers are going around against other people, the spore form is really useful because it's so much damage over time that it can cause like them to like slightly panic and run away, even if they're not in too much danger. But yeah, again, when they're coming after you, just the minigun's typically a whole lot better for like shoot or fighting off people attacking you directly. As far as like the way you want to play Rocket, typically like I've always been an advocate for like DPS Rocket. I think you just lose a whole lot of value if all you do is just heal all game, and especially since most tanks are especially Devil Dinosaur are incredible victims to Rocket. You can contribute a whole lot more to the fight when you're not just heal botting. So I typically like normally I'll just say just be like a mix between healing and DPS. That's how it is for most support. So you shouldn't be just heal botting, right? But just trying to recognize when your team needs more heals and when they need more assistance with damage. It's a pretty fine like knife's edge trying to balance that. If your teammates are typically in critical condition more often, you're gonna want to be healing more often. But if you can like stop healing your team for like a little while and then you turn around and all their health bars are pretty all right, you can do a little bit more damage than normal. And as far as like call outs and stuff like that, I said it once in my older video. You're a support, and being all the way in the back of the map, you typically see most things that are going on that your tank's in the front and your DPS maybe flank, stuff like that, just don't. Just make some callouts, give your teammates the same information that you have. It really is just as simple as pressing push to talk and just say, or if you just have the like constantly on and just say, hey, there's this guy flanking left side. It's that simple. Tracking ultimates as the support is your job. It is not your tank's job to track ultimates. It's not their DPS job to track ultimates. It's your job. If you're not doing that on support in general, you're throwing. All right, I think that's it. It's a bit different stuff that's changed when it comes to Rocket, but he's mostly the same. That's why I don't really have to go too far in depth this video. In summary, Rocket's a pretty lethal support as far as damage goes. He's crazy comfortable in huge brawls and can like melt people super fast. Don't be afraid to shoot people. Make sure you do a whole lot of callouts, and just don't be afraid when someone like Black Panther or Iron Fist or whoever dies you. The only one I'd say is Spider-Man. I like to ban Spider-Man, not because he's particularly good, but Rocket's main survivability comes from being able to dodge with his dash, and Spider-Man's auto lock kind of negates that. So you don't want that type of character diving you along with other people jumping you on top of that. Other than that, he has like very low difficulty with divers. Yeah, just when you're playing Rocket, try to do a little bit more stuff than heal botting all over the place. Hope this video has been informative, and if you guys like it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.